Clive Jefferson, reporting from the European Parliament to Strasbourg. I'm with Nick Griffin MEP again, and Nick, I'd like to talk about current issues really. The main issue that we get a report from your constituency secretary, the bedroom tax, it keeps coming up again and again, Nick.
Yeah, I've heard this from what's coming in on emails and phone calls, and also found it out campaigning on the streets. It's the real issue at present. Anywhere you've got people in council housing, social housing, people are absolutely either livid or very, very worried about the council tax.
Yeah.
Sorry, not council tax, bedroom tax.
Bedroom tax.
Imposed by councils.
Yes. There was a window tax in the 1700s, I believe. It's reminiscent of that, isn't it?
Well, sort of, but of course the window tax, you could dodge it by blocking up the window. In this case, if you dodge it by blocking up the spare bedroom, the council will do you, or the housing association will do you for vandalising their property.
That's right.
So there's no way out, and it's what really angers me about it is the way that it's so unfair on different groups of people. And obviously it's sold in the press as being, well, these people are on benefits and, you know, they're idle sponges, that sort of thing, and it's right, they should pay. And you can understand, it's quite clever the way it's marketed it, but the people who pay the taxes, the people who mainly vote and so on, thinking, well, that's my hard-earned taxes. So if people are sitting around all day, they should pay more. But it's really not like that, because the people getting hit are families, and they're saying well, it's okay to put a teenager in the same bedroom as a 3 or 4 year old. You know, of course, and if you won't do that, then if you want to have them in separate bedrooms, then you've got to pay £20-30 a week out of your benefits for that privilege. It's unfair on families like that. I've had separated parents, divorced people and so on, where the kids spend the weekend there with dad and the week with mum. And sometimes that's cat and dog in any case, but sometimes it's a perfectly sensible relationship worked out, and it's the best thing for the kids under the circumstances. And one or other of them, well in fact both of them, are going to have to pay for a bedroom that they only use a couple of days a week. Again, that's grotesquely unfair. Grandparents, similarly, if the kids have gone, they've had children, the grandparents have got a bedroom, a second bedroom. They're not spare bedrooms, they're the bedrooms the grandkids stay in their home.
I've spoken to people of every group that you've spoken to there about, and especially the people whose families are up and gone, just recently gone. The kids have just moved out, but these people have been in that home, some of them, all their lives. So that's their family home that they've known all their lives, and they're being forced to move because a lot of people can't afford to pay the extra tax. So they're being forced to move. So what are we going to do about it, Nick? That's the issue here, isn't it, really? What should people do about it? What are we going to do about it?
Well, just before that, there's two other groups, again, worth mentioning as an idea of how unfair and how stupid it is. First of all, there's people who are really sick. I was speaking to one old chap who was not that old, actually, so upset by it because his wife is on permanent medical care and needs a separate bed, and the rooms aren't particularly big, so she's in what the council are saying, a Labour council, are saying is a spare room. So they're going to lose 20-30 quid for that because they're saying, I'm going to be in the same bed, your man and wife. No, it could kill her. So that's grotesque. Then there's people who are disabled. The council, the taxpayers, have spent quite large sums of money converting their homes and making them disabled friendly, and they're liable to be thrown out and go into private accommodation. All those adaptations will then be wasted, so it's not going to save money. The saddest one in a way, because well, to me, was a middle-aged couple, again with kids who'd left, and saying, well, if we go into private rented accommodation when we're forced out of this house where they've reared their family and so on, what about the dog? And the Jack Russell, unless they can find the one place in 30 or 40 where a private rental allows a pet, their old Jack Russell had to be put to sleep. It's just cruel and horrible. And you ask what's the answer to it? It's got to be stopped like the poll tax by mass opposition to it. That was an unfair tax. This is actually more unfair, I think, and more brutal in terms of getting people thrown out of their houses. And incidentally, when British people are thrown out, in fact specifically English people, are thrown out of larger houses. Who are the councils and the housing associations going to replace them with in those communities?
Yeah, the larger families. The
larger families. We all know where from.
Yeah.
So the answer is for people to understand it. I wouldn't say the answer is to go and tear Trafalgar Square apart, like the poll tax protesters did. It's wrong, moronic. That was far left troublemaking. But it's a policy which comes from the Condemn coalition. So we've got elections coming up. People simply should say to themselves and to their friends, their relatives and their neighbours, right, because of the bedroom tax, we are never voting Conservative or Liberal Democrat because they brought the law in. But in most working class places where most of this social housing is, the council, the local Labour council who's applying this, who's going to be fining people for having a bedroom that's spare or not, is a Labour council. So punish the Conservatives and the Liberal Democrats for bringing it in and the Labour councils for applying it. Do it at the ballot box and tell them why. And if they've got enough councillors losing their seats and then going to their parties saying we can't work for the party, etc. now, and it's a disaster, and it's because of the bedroom tax, governments can be made to change these things. We know it, because if they could break Maggie Thatcher over the poll tax, they can sure as hell break Cameron and Clegg. And that's what they need to do, by voting for us, ideally, or for somebody else, but not Conservative, Lib Dem or Labour.
And we know the best protest vote, the one that drives them berserk, is British National Party. We've seen that when you were elected.
Of course.
The national hysteria.
Yeah, vote UKIP, and the BBC will simply put Farage on television again. Vote for us, and they really understand that people are angry, and of course they hate them voting for us. So as you say, absolutely right, we're the best protest vote by a mile.
All right, thank you.